I'm Terry Zumalt. I'm the director of photography for the Clubhouse, a season with the Red Sox.
I'm Devin Keebler, and I'm the A-camera First AC of the Clubhouse, a season with the Red Sox.
We just ingrained ourselves with the Boston Red Sox from spring training to the end of their season, just following them and trying to show more off the field stuff than you'll get with broadcast. We are always pushing and trying to explore outside of the game. We were in the clubhouse with them, we traveled with them, we went home with some of the players and coaches, and they were pretty open with us, so we got a look at just what it means to be a baseball player.
I didn't know anything about baseball at all, never played it growing up, nothing about it coming into this. Now I know everything about it, and I'm a huge baseball fan now.
I've worked on lots of documentaries in the past, specifically sports documentaries, but this is my first long form with professional athletes. I quickly realized how much pressure they're under and how much they work. It's part of my job to just keep getting myself into situations where the story's happening. We knew it was going to be a challenge, but we didn't realize how hard that would really be. We like to work very hands-off. Like, we're not important. This is not a film set. You know, you're going into their lives.
I learned this from one of our A2s, a little oil pen to grease door hinges so I can sneak in and out of places without it creaking so I can change a battery or something. But like, never more did we grease that place down and like as invisible as possible.
Well, there's the sanctity of the clubhouse. The coaches can come and go, but you know, if the players say no coaches in here, then no coaches will go in there. You know, it's their world, and they open it up to us.
If we are invisible, we're doing our jobs perfectly. And this was, I think, like, for me, I'm proud to say, like the kind of the pinnacle of that.
This was another project with Greg Whiteley, who's I've worked with now for, eight years or more. He kept saying, like, we're working on MLB, like Fenway and Boston, and like the history of it. That team's one of the most historic teams. And then, it was 2 weeks before spring training, like, we got to go. The Burano hadn't quite been released yet, but I knew it was like, there's a chance it's going to come out in time to start the show, and I knew it was perfect for the show. And I've been in the Sony ecosystem since I started doing docs. Sony, the camera is just the most versatile. They have every feature that I need.
It was cool to get this brand new camera, and we're in a new city. I have a new day player, camera assistant, and how quickly they could use the camera was pretty great. Because it's right between an FX9 and a Venice, basically. It has a button for everything. So the learning curve was very short, I think. It was very intuitive.
I knew I needed something smaller, but I needed the features that I need because I do everything myself. I pull my own focus. And the Fenway dugout is not very big. It is small, and there's nowhere to hide. And I did not want a big camera in there with me. And you guys were able to get the first two off the boat, basically, and get them to us. Those two bodies went the whole season with us. Nothing.
Without issue. I think we were really excited too when you told me, like, we might get the Burano. I was like, my first thought was, wait, we can use one camera for everything.
So I shot it full frame cropped 6K, like whatever magic they did to still shoot that raw in the XOCN.
To get more detail, you'd be using grads or like polarizers a lot. And then I was like, I didn't have them one day, and you're like, dude, we have XOCN LT. Like, I can pull that detail out of the sky. But when they came out with 19, 20 gigabyte cards with like really great roll times, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And 2 card slots. The last thing I want to do is change a card when a professional athlete is crying or something. Like, the last thing I want to do. I won't do it.
So I was very excited to try out the variable NDs on this camera to see if it would streamline it even more for me. My tendency is to not do anything auto. I want it simple. I want to do everything myself. Manual, it just less things to go wrong. It actually ended up saving me. I didn't anticipate this, but as soon as I got there and I started filming in the dugouts, I realized during day games, the field is 4 or 5 stops over the dugout where they're sitting under the ledge, and I'm just filming whatever's happening. I'm field, guys run up and down, and I was like, this would be a nightmare, because I would probably be doing it on the barrel, trying to keep exposure, because I wouldn't have time to be flipping NDs, or I'd have to change the way I shoot, which I wouldn't want that, because I want to follow a guy on the bench up onto the field. I couldn't believe, I was like, this would have been the hardest thing in the world. It would have been so annoying, but it worked. Once I dialed it, it was seamless.
We could engage the variable and it would already be on in auto, how we want it. And then immediately you can switch it to step or off with the hotkey and be out of it. So when he's doing gimbal work, we don't really want to be touching the camera, but having that auto exposure again, fantastic. We're constantly changing frame rates, on speed, off speed, challenging environments. I mean, some of the coolest stuff is just being able to do ND racks from outside to inside, inside to outside. We would do a lot of that. Some guy coming out of the tunnel into this gladiator dome of a ballpark, without having to do an iris rack. Just crash in, crash out, change frame rates, not have to touch anything else.
The fact that it's image stabilizing with PL mount lenses was a game changer for us. I used it on pretty much every setup, whether it was my short zoom or for the long zoom during games. I'm pretty sure I left it on low for most of the time, and it was just enough for. It was kind of like when I would settle in somewhere, it would get rid of that little bit of rock. But if I still wanted movement, it wasn't trying to cancel all that. It was just enough that I could settle in and it would get rid of the little, which I liked, because I still want it to feel alive. I still want it to feel handheld. It's very cool that Burano has it for PL mount lenses.
We're very used to shooting in verite, fly on the wall, very sensitive situations, and the Venice took a lot more power. And then I was very excited when try out the Burano, which sips power comparatively. And with modern batteries, I could set timers and always be ahead of that and be able to hot swap. Having all the custom buttons is really great, because the way he likes his custom buttons is not the way our B operator likes his custom buttons, versus when we switch to long lens, we'll change what those buttons do, or to gimbal. But once we got our hands on the camera, we realized you can navigate all the settings we needed without ever having to touch the screen. So we actually exclusively used it as an EVF. And with the new firmware, having the ability to have a clean image with your information on screen display outside of that is huge. That's very welcome.
Very
like that.
Very welcome. I have a gimbal op, specialty op. He's my secret weapon, because we're like, hey, wait till next week. We got this guy. He's gonna come out. He's gonna have a Segway. I think David was very excited about the weight and size of the Burano. Compared to the Venice, just the weight difference, David was able to, shoot longer and just be a little more mobile and probably faster. The Burano has literally everything that I need, and I don't feel like I'm compromising for anything. I mean, it never shut off, it never overheated. It excelled. I really had no complaints at all. I tried to portray it like I was a player, I mean, I'm sitting on the bench next to them. I'm right there in their face. I'm right with them as they run out or they run back in from off the field or after a home run. Those guys go down in the tunnel, down in the batting cage, and they let off steam. They don't want us to show it. We caught some of it, but it was amazing they even let us in there. They've never let anybody do anything like this before, so this is definitely a one of a kind thing. And I hope that comes across, and I hope people feel like at least a little bit that they're what it's like to actually be a professional baseball player.